folks, and welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be doing a slight technical analysis here, looking at a few things that are going to be going on within the LUNC USTC spectrum. And we're going to try and give a perspective as to what I possibly think's going on with price. We can see some patterns playing out which are also attributing as to what's really going on after this substantial pump. On the day, crypto looking good, a lot of greens, lots of greens, lots of greens. This is what you want to see. I think there's about 115 days until BTC halves, so it's just going to be where's the bottom at this point, where's a good point of entry for a lot of people. Historically, BTC halving shows substantial price movements. People are going to start to get very, very kind of not impatient, but sweaty palms, if that makes sense. And like I said, the whole idea of missing it this time for those who are invested in crypto or sat on the sidelines. I know a lot of people are sat on the sidelines at the moment wondering what's a good time to get involved with something. What could I possibly get involved with? AVAX is actually looking really good. They've got a lot going on. Solana's doing something weird where they're introducing more and more meme coins, and those meme coins are actually attributing to the Solana ecosystem. So it's looking good. Now, with everything that's going on within LUNC at the moment, I think it's quite important, specifically with USTC, it's specifically important to look externally as to what's going on and who else is burning and what that burning is actually doing. PancakeSwap burned $62 million. Okay, that's substantial. $62 million. But the cake price has fallen 13%. Now, when you actually go and look at cake, yes, it's dropped that much, but it's not done anything. It's not done anything whatsoever. And these sort of things become buy the rumor, sell the news, and you kind of incite pump and dumps to happen. And if you're not, I've tried explaining this for a lot of people, and this is why I've abstained, because this is a lesson best learned by living it. And if the inflow's not there and the outflow's substantially going out all the time, you're burning everything, you're taxing everybody to burn more coins, the system's not really flourishing, people are not building, nothing's really going on. A lot of you are going to sit on your bags, a lot of people are just not going to want to do things. So let's jump over to the price. So like I said, it's good to look at these kind of historical evidence that shows us that sometimes maybe burning's not the best thing to do. And we can see this with USTC. We've done previous videos here. I'm sure if you search on the channel, we burnt a substantial amount of USTC, which was like 12% of the supply at that time, and it dumped the price. It didn't do anything. So let's go over to this substantial price pump, because it was a substantial price pump. It's like almost a 5x for a lot of people if you were in here at the bottom, and a lot of us were here at the bottom. If you caught the top, fair play to you. If you're still hanging on, that's totally reasonable. I just hope you're one of those people who say to themselves, I'll take profits, I'll get my original investment back, and I'll leave the rest to cook over if necessary. So we have got some support lines, and these support lines are really these two yellow lines I've got marked out here. And the reason why I see these as support lines is we've sat in these areas quite a lot over our historical time of being involved with this coin and blockchain, so to speak. Now, with this being said, right, are these certain lines of support? Of course not. We could lose this line of support up here and we could head on down to this area. And that's kind of the issue that I'm sort of seeing, that if something good, something healthy doesn't happen, that isn't just a publicity stunt, so to speak, and it's something of value for this blockchain and something that's going to really drive development, right? Get a lot of different things done. It's going to foster in an environment where people can simply post jobs. All of these different kind of things we could do aside burning, like funding a liquidity pool on PancakeSwap. That's an absolute 100% for me, regardless of who the idea comes from. It's a good idea because it's a good idea, right? And that's just the way the cookie crumbles in my eyes. I don't shun anybody. If you've got a good idea, you've got a good idea, right? So what we're seeing here is just a typical falling wedge, and we're staying pretty much inside this pattern. I've been tracking it for a while. I thought there was a breakout previously. That breakout failed and we continued the slight downtrend. And I think it's about, from that video, I think it's, so it's dropped down to about 20% and it's back up to about a 10% loss from that point. So this is quite an interesting area for us to focus on right now as to what's going to happen. So is it going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing with the burn tax increase, with this 800 million USTC supposedly getting burned again? I think this has been going on for way over a year now of just proposal after proposal after proposal of different ways that we can burn somebody else's coins. So for me, I look for real sort of actual in-play factors, and one of those factors was the DCM. It caused so many coins to move, right? Why? Because lots of people redelegated. They want to get those 0% commissions. You want to maximize your intake. At the end of the day, people like me aren't paying your bills. So what do you care? Exactly. You erase the emotion, you make the move. And because you made that move, volume happened. And because volume happened, price action happened. And that happened until everything got a little bit more settled and we saw the end of this pump. And now we're seeing a cool down, and you can go and you can attribute the dates to everything that happened during that time. And I honestly believe that this price pump was more or less down to the amount of coins that got moved. And if you're watching the volume around those times, I'm sure you can go back, you can look at different charts. It's all about getting coins to move, not necessarily someone going and spending their coins, right? But just moving them, just doing stuff with them. That's what makes a difference. And I think what a lot of people don't understand with burning is it's good, right? And it's really good. For example, if you've got a substantial inflow and the outflow's nowhere near, for example, like 50%, we could be refunding the Oracle rewards pool. Instead, we're not. We're choosing to burn what we could be funding different pools with. And people are like, well, let's fund the pools. Well, we can't fund the pools, fund other pools, fund development. It doesn't work. We're a very small chain. There's a lot of people who say the argument around Ethereum and, look at Ethereum's fees. Yes, look how big Ethereum is. They're a number 2 chain and they're heavily recognized. We're very small. We're a division of what was a very substantial crash that affected a lot of users, and we're the ones that remained. And we're not that big. We don't have that kind of luxury to keep back and forthing with these things. So what do I think? Hopefully not. But there's a possibility we could just keep seeing a downtrend until actual things start to happen again and you see real world movement. If you go back and you look at every single time we increased the burn tax, there was substantial burns that happened. The price just kept dropping and it just kept dropping and it just kept dropping because you were all sitting on your bags, right? You weren't doing nothing. The odd delegation, the odd redelegation, it wasn't much. If we can start to understand why price moves in the way that it does move, we can probably better understand why patterns play out the way that they do and what we could do to better affect the price as a community. Because ultimately we are the ones that provide sentiment, aren't we? We're the ones who go off, we tell our friends, we say to people we've made substantial gains, and other people want to get a slice of the pie. That's just the way crypto works. It's a very greed-based environment, but that's why we're all here, right? Everybody's here to make money. And if someone's like, oh, they're making money, that's absolutely insane, you can't do that, that's forbidden. It's like, dude, this is crypto. Everybody's here to make money. Now, with all this being said, we're on the next day candle. We've been looking at the day chart here. It's more or less the same on the macro size. It's so early in the morning here. It's a little bit different on the macro side of things, but more or less we're following this pattern. What we want to see is a breakout, and I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know how that's going to happen, but hopefully something substantial happens. For all we know, Binance could burn 2 trillion coins tomorrow. And if anybody's like, oh, that can't happen, I would say to people, well, you're comparing us to Ethereum, which is kind of weird, but you're not willing to accept that that's a possibility. And it's like, never say never, baby. These things could happen. And I think there's a lot of credence to it. We should probably do more content around it. I do like a tinfoil hat episode myself. So with this technical analysis coming to an end, I'm not a genie, I'm not a wizard, and I definitely don't have a crystal ball. None of this is to be taken as financial advice. It's just sheer sentiment that I sort of do mine on and what's kind of going on in the community and to give you a better perspective. Today's a new day. Hopefully we see a substantial breakout. Hopefully we see a substantial move. But as it stands at the moment, we do need to look at the technical side of things. We need to look at the historical evidence, and we need to better come to terms so we don't have to improvise at the time. We can anticipate beforehand. Folks, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.